Such as I, Shadow Critias, back again with another MHA discussion video. So today, let's just say, for the past, about to be 4 years now, since I created my character, MHAOC, back in April 2022. So it was about to be 4 years since my character was created. And y'all guys have been asking, who is Kage Tatsuma? And it's kind of disappointing that some of y'all people do not know who this character is. And not checking on the playlist to get to know about the character. And I did post on my community tab about if you guys want to know more about my character, go check out the first video that I made about Kage Tatsuma about almost 4 years ago. And for all those new fuckers out there do not know who Kage Tatsuma is, I'm gonna give you guys an explanation. Kage Tatsuma is my MHAOC, and I created the character, and I have a few people who did some commission artworks in the past before AI was even a thing. So the two images you're seeing right now are made by two people that I know, Gigatoons and Night Shadow. And these were created back in 2022. So yeah, these art were made back in 2022. So before AI was even a thing. And I do have proof that they're not AI because at all. So I'll give you guys a proof and evidence back of the claim of the commission arts. Here's the first ever commission art by Gigatoon herself, who brought my character to life to add her character, like a collaboration, so to speak. So this is the first ever commission that Gigatoon did for my character in the past. So my character would not exist and would have come true if it wasn't for Gigatoons. So shout out to her. And this is Kage's father, Draco Fiend. This character was created by me by using character generation. Well, not character generation, more like character creation maker for a website that people can create their characters come to life. This is like before AI was even a thing, before it came to the internet, etc. And now this is the actual design of Kage Tatsuma. I made this character myself in the past. So if you guys seen the first video, this is the first ever image that I created Kage Tatsuma in manga style, because there was like the website I use to create my character, it only has the manga style of My Hero Academia. Actually, the first design of, and here's Kage Tatsuma made. This is his UA uniform and his pro hero outfit. So yeah, made by Gigatoons herself. And the OCX canon ship that I won was Kage and Suyu, art done by Gigatoon herself. So yeah, you guys could tell, you can see her name logo in the bottom of every single image that I show you guys. Yeah, made by her. And that's a bit of a proof and evidence that you guys know these were commissioned art back then in 2022. And the reason why Kage's last name, the son of the dragon hero herself, Ryuko Tatsuma, and she is so underrated, and she's basically one of my favorite pro hero because, well, her quirk is evolve dragon, and who cannot dislike dragons. I mean, I love dragons, so it is no surprise to anyone. And give you guys a little bit of who is Draco Fiend. Like I said, he is Kage Tatsuma's father. And Kage does have his father's quirk, which is shadow manipulation. Basically, Kage was hoping that he would have his mother's quirk to transform into a dragon, but instead he has shadow manipulation. And let's just say, if you guys want to know more of his story, you guys could go to my Wattpad page. For you guys could check out the story of Kage Tatsuma titled "The Shadow Among Us," a My Hero Academia story. Is fully complete. It's done. You guys could read it. You guys can find it in the link down below in the description box to my Wattpad page and in my bio if you guys want to read it for yourself. So go check that out. And let me give you guys explanation about his quirk. Shadow manipulation. Basically, he can manipulate anything based off shadows. His own shadows, anyone's shadows, or anything in shadows. And he could use it in his own will. And he could use it to create of his own imagination. Basically, like, well, he can make shadow clones of himself. And he could create weapons based off his imagination. So that's what he could do. And he only has a bit of a limit if it was on the daytime. If it's in the daytime, he only could take the shadows from anything that the sun is, the sun is out or whatever. And Kage only can see his shadows, the people's shadows, or any location shadows. Like, for example, if he sees a shadow of I can't speak, the tree, he can manipulate the shadow of the tree. Same goes for a person and himself. That's the only limits he can have to use as a shadow manipulation. So basically, in daytime, he will have less shadow around him in daytime. But when it comes to nighttime, he has so many shadow that he can absorb anywhere he wants in the night. So basically, his night is where he uses quirk more often. But in daytime, he can only use so little of his quirk. That is why he's more skillful of hand-to-hand combat than just rely on his quirk. The reason why, because he believes that if people want to become a pro hero, they need to learn how to become a fighter instead of just rely on their quirks. Because they think like if you use your quirks so much, you will drain yourself completely and you will leave yourself wide open and you will leave yourself vulnerable and you'll be at dangerous distress. So basically that's what Kage is. But here's the thing. Kage Tatsuma is a vigilante. Because the reason why I have Kage to be a vigilante, mainly because, well, after the My Hero Academia vigilante, the vigilantes has stopped ever since. So basically 10 years ago, there was a vigilante. After that, it just stopped. The main character, again, this is going to be spoilers for the My Hero Academia vigilante. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled of the ending of the manga, leave now. In the ending of My Hero Academia vigilante, the main character, he gets caught and arrested, but he does get an opportunity to become a hero in America. And Knuckle Duster, he decided to retire as a vigilante. And Pop Stab, she decided to stop doing what she does and just live her normal life. Yeah, so basically after that, there was no more vigilanteism anymore. So that's what happened. Mainly because Popstar got possessed by Bee Queen, the threat. Yeah, she got possessed by Bee Queen herself in the manga and realized what she has done and what she was doing. She gave up of what she does and ruined her reputation, so she cannot be Pop Step anymore. So that's the reason. And Knuckle Duster, he basically got everything he wanted at the end. So yeah, that's what happened. So basically, Kage was kind of disappointed that there's not any vigilantes who are willing to uncorrect the pro hero's mistake of not ending the villain's life. So basically, in the story that I made and released on a Wattpad, he's basically Red Hood and the Punisher combination. That he's willing to kill villains because he doesn't believe these villains deserve a second chance or redemption and they don't deserve to live. And he's basically the more common sense of the student in UA because basically he wants to give everyone the reality check of real life, like how many more men, women, and children have to die, how many loved ones have to suffer in grief of the losses, like how many times that these pro heroes are going to keep lock up these villains, murderers, kidnappers, and rapists. How many times they're just going to keep coming out of their prison and jail and causing the same chaos, the same destruction, but far worse than they ever done. They're not going to learn their lesson. They're never going to learn their ways. So what's the point? What's the point of doing this all cat chasing a mouse fiasco and keep repeating the cycle all over again? What's the point? If you want to keep these people safe, you need to end these villains' life to make these people feel safe. And secondly, in the story, he snaps his classmate and never think the possibility of what could have happened if All Might didn't show up in the USJ incident. People could have died. And somehow they're going to brush it off like nothing happened. And people don't think the possibility of the scenario about All Might. Like, he's not a god, he's a human being, and he has limits to his power. And do y'all even think the possibility that one day he could retire, or even worse, that he could be killed in action for protection, to protecting people? Do y'all even think of that possibility? Y'all rely on All Might too much, and you forgot that he's a human being and he has a life. But y'all rely on him so much. One of these days, the citizens are going to rely on themselves and not the heroes anymore. And he's basically the common sense. And he sees that the hero society is broken because of everyone is in it. Heroes, civilians, and villains. Everyone. Because, yeah, they rely on... the people rely on the hero so much, and they forgot that these pro heroes are not gods. They're humans. They have limits. They have life. They're not a deity. So basically, let's just say Kage looked up to Stain. He agrees of his motives, but not his action. So basically, Kage has been started with his training with Stain when he was 6 years old after he had his quirk at the age of 5. The reason why I did that mainly because no, it was 7. He started his training when he was 7, 2 years later after he got his quirk because he wanted to do some good for the world. So basically he was trained by the hero killer Stain in his vigilante days, because Stain was a vigilante before he became the hero killer Stain, all thanks to Knuckle Duster. So basically, Kage would have been 10 years at the time where Stain decided to change his reasoning that, he's going to kill both heroes and villains because he sees all the heroes as fakers. Which Kage kind of agrees that some of these pro heroes only self money, fame, glory, power, control, and having women. So yeah, he actually agrees with Stain on this. But the one thing that he does not like the idea is, killing children. Like, that will be the last straw. So Kage was like, yeah, no, we cannot harm children. Otherwise, we're no better than the villains. And, so basically, Kage went his own way when he turns 11. So basically, when Stain was about to kill a child and who's in UA and trainee, Kage stepped in and saved the child's life from Stain. So basically, Kage and Stain went their separate ways because Kage believed if killing a children and an infant is a sign of losing your humanity, losing your soul. If anyone do horrific things to children and infants, yeah, no mercy, no second thoughts, no redemption, no anything. You're fucking dead. So yeah, Kage is basically like that. And everyone calls him the Night Slasher, which Kage doesn't like that name. So he just roll with it, and he just does not like the name, etc. But in the story, he does give himself his own codename. He goes by the name Ronin. So yeah. So basically, Kage's story is to learn that not all pro heroes seeks those kind of things. There are those pro heroes do want to save life, and there are some pro heroes do seek for that. And Kage wants to, tell the world that heroes are not perfect. Heroes have their own inner darkness that y'all cannot see because they rather keep that as a secret and not let it get out of the world. So, in the story that I did for Kage in the sports festival, that he basically decided to expose himself because he doesn't give a fuck. And he actually does tell a story that he came across a pro hero sidekick kidnapping a child and potentially about to rape the child. Yeah, I want to do a story where a pro hero is willing to go that far and show that the pro hero are not that perfect or not that great. Some pro heroes have their own inner dark side, their inner demons that people do not know, and that they shouldn't trust the pro heroes so fully because they just trust the pro heroes fully because we'll be safe, we'll be protected. Are you sure about that? Do y'all even think how they were before they became a pro hero? Do y'all even think about that? So basically, Kage will honor Stain's legacy, but in the opposite. Basically, spread the, his motives and his reasoning and not his action. He's basically not gonna do what Stain does. Like, he agrees his mentor's motives, but not his actions. So yeah. So basically, that's that's basically what he's trying to do. He's trying to be the opposite of his mentor to be better. So that's what he's doing in the story. So, yeah. Until later on in the story, he does come to the realization that there are some villains who deserve redemption. But he still believes there are some villains don't deserve that redemption. Hell, in the actual original story, I had All Might and All for One die to basically have Kage to prove his point to Shigaraki that the Hero Society is broken by everyone, not just All Might. When he sees All Might and Shigaraki dies and see Endeavor be the next #1 as he stand up and raise after he defeat the High-End Nomu in Season 4, that shows that Kage is right, that the Hero Society is broken by everyone. And that kind of changed Shigaraki ideas and his motives of why he hates the Soul Society, why he hates All Might. Now he hates everyone fully. So, yeah, that's kind of changed Shigaraki's character that I did in the story. So, yeah. And I know I kind of went a bit of an off topic of Kage about his quirk. Kage does have his super moves like Shadow Clones, Blackout, Dragon Scale. Yeah, those are the three super moves he have. Shadow Clones, basically, he could create Shadow Clones on himself or make a copy of someone else's, and they are tough as hell. Let's just say, if a person trying to punch a Shadow Clone, it would just go straight through them, but the Shadow Clone will give them a massive pain. Now, let's say Uraraka fought her Shadow Clone, her Shadow self. Yeah, the Shadow version of Uraraka is 5 times worse. Basically hits harder than Uraraka. And, yeah, that's basically what it is. And they basically have the mind on their own, because Kage is actually controlling them and commanding them, and they do have the mind on their own. Blackout is basically, okay, the idea I got that from is, from DC, the Dark Multiverse, from the Dawnbreaker, where Bruce became Green Lantern and he used the word blackout and everything went black. So basically, Kage would use that super move to basically have him trap with his enemies or his opponent that he's facing in the nighttime. But in daytime, you will see what it looks like. It's just a massive shadow-like orb that no one cannot see it, only Kage inside the orb, because it gives Kage the ability to see through him, basically a night vision, so to speak. So yeah, and now Dragon Scale basically turns his entire body into a dragon scale, but in shadow form. Like, it doesn't turn his skin, it's just like a shadow mist of a dragon scale. It's like a shield, but if it takes too much damage, it will wear off. So it's like a vest, so to speak. And he does have ultimate move called Ragnarok. Basically, not only he could use shadow manipulation to copy anything and create anything based on his imagination, he can absorb the shadows by concentrate and use all the shadows that he have and what is around him to transform into a dragon, the same size of a dragon like his mother, but the shape of a dragon is different to Ryuku's dragon form. Since Ryuku's dragon form is basically similar to the Blue Eyes White Dragon, Kage takes the form of the Red Eyes Black Dragon. So I'm gonna keep that element in the Yu-Gi-Oh! For My Hero, honestly. Could stay in this form only 30 minutes at most. So he only has 30 minutes to use it. So once he uses that, he is completely drained. And that's the thing. He does have a weakness. If he used too much of his quirk and use his ultimate technique after 30 minutes, he will completely be drained, but he will still keep fighting even though he is fully drained. The only way he can regain his energy is basically eating, kind of like Momo, so to speak. Like whenever she used her quirk to keep up her energy so she could start do her creation, she has to eat to keep up her energy. It's kind of like Kage, but less, so to speak. The reason why I say less because, like I said, Kage is more a skillful combatant without his quirk. He is a deadly hand-to-hand fighter. And not only that, not only he does have his own fighting skills, he can copy and mimic people's fighting skills from anyone that he's encountered. Hell, even learning and copy fighting skills from a fictional world like movies, TV shows, and comic. So yeah, he could copy martial arts that doesn't even fucking exist, and he can make it work. He's a intelligent when it comes to fighting. So yeah, there's that. What else? Cage's hobby? Well, he loves to write. He loves listening to music. He's into anime. Those are only 3 hobbies he likes. His favorite food? His favorite food is pizza, spicy Doritos, and cheese dip with tortilla chips. And his favorite fruit is basically apple. So those are his favorite food. And he does have a childhood friend in the story, which is Tokiyami. And again, if you guys want to know what happened between them two, go read it, because I don't want to go in depth to that. So you guys have to read it for yourself. And here's the thing. Again, I'm kind of disappointed that you guys people do not know about Kage Tatsuma as a character. But here's the interesting facts that you guys may not know. At first, OCX canon that I have in mind for Kage. The original plan I had for Kage for his love interest was Kyokujiro, because, well, Jiro is the best girl. And yes, this is a commission art. Alright, if you have seen the late video for a Valentine special video where I did of Kage Tatsuma X Class 1A girls, this is a actual commission art. So that is one of them. So yeah, at first I was gonna have Kage and Jiro be the thing, but I decided to change my mind on that. Hell, in the original plan, I was gonna have Kage to have his first ever love interest before he got caught by Aizawa and got into UA by Highly Recommended. At first, I was gonna have Kage to have his first ever love interest before he met Sue. So basically, the female you see right here, her name is Kira Sakura. I think I might change her name to Kisara Sakura. She's basically the black cat in the story. And she's a vigilante thief in a first lover to Kage. So basically, she's the first lover before Sue. But I decided to go against this idea because I just feel like, nah, I just don't see that necessary, so to speak. So I decided to, change that idea. In the story I did, I had Nejire be like a big sister figure for Kage, but I realized that Kage is like 2 or 3 years old. 2 or 3 years old younger than Nejire, because Kage is like 16 and 17, where Nejire is in her third year. So basically 18 or 19, give or take. So, yeah, Kage is somewhere like 2 years younger or 3 years younger than Nejire. So, yeah, that kind of, wow, okay. And I might as well give you guys more about his father. Draco Fiend, he became a vigilante later on. He's basically both a pro hero, a vigilante, both. He's still doing pro hero work, but he does kill villains behind the scene. The pro heroes never knew that he has been killing villains. Until he heard a Cage's grandparents from his father's side. He heard a conversation between his parents that they've been kept secret from him that he didn't know. His parents are part of the liberation in the past, and they kept secret from their son, Draco Fiend. When Draco heard about this, he basically killed his parents and burned their house down for lying. And when he learns that the Fiend families are the right-hand men of the Redestro family of the Liberation. So Draco Fiend decided he gave up being a pro hero and vigilante and became a fully-fledged villain and be the right-hand man of Redestro. So basically, Draco Fiend has not been part of Cage's life when he was born. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a confirmation. And if you guys want to know what happens to him a bit more, again, go read the story for you guys self. So, yeah, that's basically a little bit of information about Kage and what you guys should know. But here's the thing. I'm actually planning to reboot the entire story of Kage Tatsuma because I wish I could have done better. Something I wish it could have been made more sense. And since my writing is getting better and my spelling is getting a little bit better, so I decided to reboot the entire story. At first, I wanted to use this as the cover for the rebooted. I edited the images, etc. This was going to be the original cover for the rebooted version, but instead, it was going to be this one as well until I decided, you know what, I could have done this better by using Google Gemini, so I got something better than this one. This is the new cover for the reboot version of Kage Tatsuma. So, yeah, I think it's fitting. I like how it looks, and the title of My Hero Academia, I add that title in to fit in, and that's how I wanted it. So, yeah, that's the new cover for the reboot version. In the reboot version, Kage Tatsuma will have a different father, a new father better than Draco Fiend. His name is Yoshikage. So basically, his last name is Tatsuma, which means that Ryuko decided to keep the last name of Tatsuma, mainly because Yoshikage decided to name himself Emma instead of Fiend, so it's Yoshikage Fiend, but he never likes the word Fiend, so he decided to change his last name to Tatsuma. So, Yoshikage, the father of Kage Tatsuma. His father has the same quirk, shadow manipulation. And this is his pro hero outfit. So yeah, in this scenario, in this new reboot, Yoshikage is a good man, a good father, and I do have some story in mind. In the reboot version, instead of abandoning Kage, he has been part of Kage's life until when Kage was the age of 3. Yoshikage died protecting his son by a villain that attacked his house and trying to kill his son. By this villain who is going to be the main villain for the story. He killed Yoshikage for protecting his son, and when he died, the police already arrived, so the villain actually escaped. And this happened when Kage was 3 years old, which basically traumatized him and changed him who he was. Isolated, cold, and basically a bit harsh, and want to seek revenge on the man who murdered his father. So, yeah. And in this reboot version, Kage's new love interest is gonna be Hagakure. Now, you guys voted for this, and I was kind of fucking surprised by this. So, I was kind of fucking surprised that you guys want Kage to be with Hagakure. Because I was kind of completely shocked. I was not expected Hagakure will get so much love for this. Like, holy shit. Like I wanted to go with my original idea to have Kage to be with Jiro, but instead chose Hagakure over Jiro. And I will include add a bit some story of Kage's vigilante days before he gets caught by Aizawa. So you guys will get to see her in the story as well. And I'm still going to have Nedry be like the big sister figure for Kage, but again, a little thing's going to be different, so I'm still going to work on that as well. And when it comes to Kage's shadow manipulation, I'm just going to go with the idea that I just mentioned, that Kage can summon any shadows, basically summon anything based of shadow manipulation, like making shadow clones, and using any shadows to create any weapon based off his imagination. But I'm going to change the idea that he can absorb any shadow and save it for later. So I'm not going to use that third option and stick with the 2 option that he can manipulate shadows to create anything based on his imagination, and the only limited shadow he will have is during the daytime, but at nighttime he has a limited option to use shadows around him. But he does have a downside. If he uses it too much, he will be drained. So he had to eat less food to gain his energy. And like I said, he's going to be more of a skillful combatant with and without his quirk. I'm still keeping the idea of that. So, yeah. And the reboot version, I'm not going to have Kage to be the mimic copycat fighter. He's going to have his own combatant fighting skills with and without his quirk in the reboot version. And the original story, I have Kage and Bree be a rival between each other because of their ideology. You know, Kage saying villains don't deserve redemption or second chance. Bree believes that some villains deserve a second chance and redemption. I decided to not include Bree in the reboot version. So I have to think who will be the rival or Cage's flawed in the story. I'm still thinking on that for the reboot version. In the reboot version, I'm gonna have Cage to be friends with Denki Kaminari and Kyokujiro. In the original story, it's Cage, Sue, and Tokoyami. But I decided, I didn't like that idea back then. So I'm decided gonna give Cage a new friends to be part of the trio. It's gonna be Jiro and Kaminari. So yeah, that's gonna be the new trio for the reboot version. So there you have it. That's a bit of information about Kage Tatsuma, who he is, what's his origin, what's his backstory, his quirk, etc., the original story, and the reboot version of the story that I have in mind. So yeah, hope that answered you guys' question, etc., about who is Kage Tatsuma and why I've been making so much what if scenarios of my MHAOC. So yeah, now you guys got your answer and you guys can shut the fuck up about it and let it go, drop it, and move on. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Again, all the arts that you've seen, they were commissioned, except the others, because you will see the Google Gemini logo below the corner. Yeah, those were AI, except the commissioned arts. They were commissioned by the artists. So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Links to my other channel, my social medias will be down below the description box. You guys know the drill. Links to my Cash App, PayPal, Ko-fi will be down below the description box and in my bio if you guys want to donate to support the channel. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Kneel before, shout out Critias, and I'll see you guys later.